Hello, my name is Fayonna Ward, and we will be exploring the vocabulary self collection strategy. And this strategy will help students build their vocabulary, both spoken and written, as well as exposing them to new words in text. And so, have you ever been reading something and you come across a word that you didn't know? And when you came across that word, like what was your strategy for figuring out, what is this word? What does this word mean? So I'll say for me personally, when I come across the word that I don't know, if it's my own personal book, sometimes I'll underline the word. And if I can't go back in that moment to figure out what the word means, whether search it on Google or something like that to figure out what the word means, then I'll use the context clues to help me figure out what the word means. In the in the vocabulary self collection strategy, this is going to help you to build your vocabulary skills and searching text to figure out what words are new or interesting words that you want to learn about. And so I'm going to apply that strategy to the book No Talking by Andrew Clements. Okay, so I'm going to start off by reading the introduction. The fifth grade girls and the fifth grade boys at Laketon Elementary don't get along very well, but the real problem is these kids are loud and disorderly. That's why the principal uses her red plastic bullhorn. That's why the principal uses the red plastic bullhorn a lot. Then one day, Dave Packer, a certified loudmouth, bumps into an idea, a big one, that makes him try to keep quiet for a whole day. But what does Dave hear during lunch? A girl, Lindsay Burgess, jabbering away. So Dave breaks his silence and lobs an insult, and those words spark a contest. Which team can say the fewest words for 2 whole days? And it's the boys against the girls. How do teachers react to the silence? What happens to the principal? Or what happens when the principal feels she's losing control? And what will Dave and Lindsay plunge? Oh, I'm sorry. And will Dave and Lindsay plunge the whole school into chaos? So, as I was reading the introduction of this book, there were some words that, if I were a fifth grade student, that maybe I don't know these words, what they mean, as far as definition and how they apply to the story. And what I find to be important as I'm reading the introduction, if I don't understand what this introduction is telling me, I may not be able to follow along in the story. So it's important for me to understand what the introduction is saying so I know what to expect from this story. And so as I was reading the introduction, one of the words that stood out to me was disorderly. And so according to the vocabulary self collection strategy, you can use context, you can use diagrams, you can use glossary or dictionary or illustrations to help you figure out what the word means. And as you can see, the part of the book that I was reading, it doesn't have any diagrams, it doesn't have any illustrations. Although the book will have some illustrations in it, this part that I was reading doesn't have any illustrations. And because it's not a content book, it won't have a glossary that I can go quickly and find out what the word disorderly means. So I have to figure out a strategy that's going to work for me to help me figure out what the word disorderly means. And so on your Google Slides, you'll have access to a Google Slides presentation where you will be able to apply this strategy that I'm going to model for you now. So, like I said, the word disorderly was the one that I picked out. That, maybe I don't know what that word means. If I was a fifth grader, maybe I wouldn't know what that word meant. So, what strategy would I use to figure out what that word means? And so, What I'm going to do is, like I said before, this strategy tells us that we can use context. So, what context means is I'm going to use the clues around that word to help me figure out what the word or disorderly means. And so, first thing I need to do is find how that word, I've already identified my word. Now I want to find where that word is used in the sentence. And so, the sentence that word is used in, but the real problem is these kids are loud and disorderly. And so, with that idea and concept in mind, um, I'm going to figure out what does this word mean. And so, I'm thinking about students, fifth grade students, being loud, and what kind of behavior goes along with being loud. So, what comes to mind for me, they may be being loud and rude, loud and wild, loud and just crazy in general. So, in my mind, the meaning of this word could be any of those three things. And so, I'm going to go back and I'm going to read the sentence where that word is, and I'm going to try to apply that context, keeping that context in mind, and see, do I really understand the word disorderly? Okay, so when I go back and read it, I'm saying that's why. I'm sorry. But the real problem is that these kids are loud and disorderly. So these kids are loud and wild. Okay, that can make sense. These kids are loud and rude. That can make sense. These kids are loud and crazy. That all those meanings could make sense for this word. And so then what I want to do is disorderly isn't a word that I would normally use. So that makes it one a new word to me, but it also makes it a word that's interesting. And so as I begin to speak or I begin to write, I have a new vocabulary word that I can apply to my work, whether it's speaking or maybe I'm doing a speech. So whether I'm speaking or whether I'm writing, I'm able to apply that idea. And so, in order for me to keep track of this, what I will want to do is put these words into a graph that will help me keep track of these words. Okay? And so, what I'm going to go here, I'm going to share a Google Slides presentation with you guys to where you will be able to put these words into the Google Slides presentation so you can have a collection of graphs that will help you keep track of all these words in an organized fashion. So my word was disorderly. All right, and how disorderly was used in a sentence. I probably should have done this as we were going along, but that's okay. Okay, here's my book, wrong book. The real these kids are loud and disorderly. And so when I'm doing this, I would want you to highlight this word to show me that that's the word that, I mean, you already have it up top, but I want you to highlight it to show me. Do we have that option? Okay. Highlight. Oh, no. I don't want to do that. All right. So maybe we won't highlight that word. All right. And then the reason for choosing this word. Okay. So first, before we do the reason for choosing it, we're going to apply the meaning. And then the meaning of the word we said was wild, crazy, or rude. And then the reason for choosing this word is it's a new and interesting word. All right. And as you can see, we've applied this to our vocabulary self-collection strategy. And so what you guys are going to do, you're going to take this strategy and you're going to apply it as you're reading the first 3 chapters of No Talking by Andrew Clements. Thank you.